Hi there. Okay, right. So I'm back again. Um, I've been reflecting again some more, and I was thinking I've just been watching some of the news and some of the things that have been going on for people. So what that reminded me of was like the level of destruction that's happening. And I was thinking about sort of how things have just very suddenly broke down for so many people. And that is, for some people, it's immense, immense destruction. And it's not a good place to be initially. Initially, it's actually very traumatic, um, and very difficult. It's a very difficult place to be, very challenging. So many challenges from all different areas. But what the long term result is that it um, gives you a completely new and different pathway, okay? Because when destruction happens, the reason it feels like such a destruction is because it is change that is created in a forcible way. Okay, so it's change that's been sort of like forced on us, because it wasn't the change that we were consciously desiring ourselves. Because if it's a change that we consciously are desiring and creating, then it would not feel like destruction. So the destruction feels like destruction in a very traumatic sense because it is a forced change. Forced. So if you look at all the changes going on at the moment, they are forced. Okay, so it's a forced change. So to the extent that we feel challenged is the extent of how far our us we are away from ourselves. Okay, so in yoga, they talk about sort of like the return to the spirit, to the consciousness. When we are away from our pure consciousness, we've kind of gone off our normal pathway. Then when things happen to us, they feel a lot more challenging and upsetting and very traumatic. Now, I would like to share with you, obviously, because for me, this what's going on at the moment, okay, is very close to home, really, because I feel like I've come around full circle because I went through these changes in the early 90s, where I had destruction forced on me and, these changes forced on me. And what I want to give you something that I learned at that time in this time of destruction that's going on. Now, what I realized when all that was happening to me in the 90s or early 90s was I was kind of listening to messages, okay, uh, belief systems, messages that were from two different cultures because I come from, my parents' ancestry come from the Indian culture. I was brought up here in this country, and so therefore there was two cultures, and both were giving different messages. So there was a conflict. So I was away from myself and I was experiencing this conflict within myself, which is why I went through the immense suffering because I was so far away from who, internally my pure spirit, my pure consciousness was, because on the external, I was so sort of like caught up in messages and belief systems, beliefs of, other people. beliefs of cultures, you know, and that wasn't me, the pure spirit, who I was. And that is why the destruction felt so huge, and very challenging. And there was immense pain and suffering as a part of it. And so with the destruction that is happening now, you know, here I am coming around full circle from what happened to me then, and I'm seeing the similarities. You know, obviously I'm here amongst it all, but I'm not suffering in that way now, because I'm here now trying to help other people with obviously the strength, the resilience, the wisdom that I gained from what I went through. And so that's part of why I want to make these videos, to help people, because what I'm trying to explain here in terms of the destruction is there is a falling away that happens, and that falling away will leave you with who you really are. And you know how resistant we are to that change is going to determine the level of suffering that one is going to be going through or is already going through. Because the more we try to hold on and stay in our safety blanket, because it's easier to do that, the more resistant we're going to become to actually being in the flow. Okay, because that's where we need to be. We need to be in the flow. If we're in the flow of our spirit and our energy, it doesn't matter what's going on out there. It doesn't matter. Things are going to happen all the time. There are going to be viruses. There are going to be illness. Actually, I've just remembered, because what was going on then, when this happened to me in the 90s, early 90s, what was happening then was the breakout of HIV and AIDS. And I remember then when I trained as a counsellor, after all my breakdown and destruction and transformation, I trained to be a counsellor. I was actually working with HIV positive people, helping them. I was counselling and supporting HIV positive people. And so here I am, full circle. The same kind of level of destruction is happening in the world, this breakdown with the, you know, if I look at it on the planetary aspect, actually, it's the similarities of Pluto and Saturn. It's like a real big breakdown of structures and businesses, money, you know, being, people are left without money because people are out of jobs, you know, people are being, businesses are being closed down, everything. People are without money at the moment, and everybody is being challenged. So that level of destruction that is going on is really, you know, kind of like forcing people to allow things to fall away and not hold on tightly, because the more people try and hold on tightly, the more resistant they will become to that change. And the idea is to try and flow, as I was saying, for letting the spirit flow. In my other video, I mentioned something about the toilet paper and the water. Now, I want to go into an example about that, actually, because the reason I'm in flow with that, and I'm not worried about the toilet paper, I've got my last roll, actually. I've been twice to the you know, supermarkets, and there hasn't been any when I've been there, so I'm not bothered, I'm not worried. And one of the things I want to share with you, actually, because you know, stories help people. When people have been through something, their stories that they share, sometimes they can sort of like, you know, plant a seed for some kind of help and support. So, okay, I was brought up here in this country. I went to school here, and then when I was 21, I went to India for the first time with my family. And back in those days, there was a lot of poverty. A lot of that poverty is shifted now. And many households have toilets. But back in those days, when I was 21, there weren't, in the villages that we came from, because of the immense poverty, there were no toilets. And I remember, when we got to the village, I said to my, because men and women were very sort of separate. I said to my cousin, "Where's the toilets?" And so she said, "Oh, okay, let me take you." We went for this little stroll, and she took me to a field. Can you believe that? She took me to a field, and I just looked horrified. I was, because I was not in my flow. I wasn't used to that. It was something different. And I said to her, "What about toilet paper?" And she looked at me and said, "Toilet paper? We don't use that here." She said, "Yeah, there's water." So, that stayed with me in terms of how comfortable we get, with our comfort zone. I was out of my comfort zone at that time. And this was this huge open field, with no privacy in them. And I was expected to just use that space and that water. And, I had no option. But I kind of like went into the flow, because I thought to myself, you know what? Had my parents not gone to England, this would have been me here with my cousin. That was a huge awakening for me. Okay, so this is what destruction does to us. It gives us this awakening of another level of consciousness within us that we may not have realized. There might have been a little sense of an awareness, but when it comes into real integrative consciousness like that, it's huge. And that moment was so pivotal for me in my life. And so that's why now, when I'm looking around and everybody's so worried about, toilet paper, it's just like, that's the least of my worries. It's not important. And so this is what I'm trying to kind of help get the message here, is that destruction. Oh, hi, Paula. Hi. And Devonia, hello, hi. Hi. I can only see the two names. Don't know if anybody else is here, but hello. Thank you for tuning in, whoever is here. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying my video. I have got a bit of a sore throat. It's not coronavirus, but I have got a bit of a sore throat, but it's not going to stop me talking and making these videos. I'm going to share my journey along with what's happening now, because I feel it's so important, it's so relevant. And I'm going to get as many videos out here while I'm off anyway, because I know that once I go back to work, when everything's back to normal, I'm going to be so busy, and so I won't have time. But while I'm off, I'm going to be here sharing these videos and spreading my knowledge and what I can. I'm going to also be doing some meditations and some hypnotherapy sessions as well. So yeah, so going back to this destruction thing, when that destruction happens, it also there is an indication of how strong or how weak our spirit is in that moment. Okay, because as we go through experiences in life and we strengthen and strengthen and strengthen, then the experiences that start coming later, they're not as bad. Because if you look at like our parents, grandparents, they've been through so much life experience, and so when things happen, they're the ones there holding our hands and telling us it's okay when we're hurting and wounded, because they've been through all that, they've had those experiences, so they're stronger and more resilient. And that's what we have to become. We have to become stronger and resilient. And this is a powerful time at the moment for the children of this era, because the children are experiencing this so much globally around the planet. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful as adults in how we are projecting our thoughts, feelings, and stability onto those children. And it's very important, because being a hypnotherapist, I teach students all the time about, how things are stored in our subconscious mind. That traumatic experience that the children are going through can be lessened by the adults around them so that it doesn't feel so destructive for them, and how much love, nurturing, care, and holding that the parents and adults around those children are going to do is going to lessen that level of upset and trauma that's going to be logged in their subconscious mind when they're adults, so later on, because they're going to grow up with this. This is actually quite huge in terms of the information that's going to be stored in their subconscious mind. And so when I'm talking about, this destruction that we experience as because it comes around again and again and again, because everything is like cycles. We go around in cycles. Nothing is linear. Okay, just because we've dealt with one thing, it's not linear that we've moved past it and it's not going to happen again. Things happen in cycles. I've been here before with this destruction, and like I said, at that time it was HIV and AIDS, and it was a big thing. I was every day, because I was working in that field, I was receiving messages of all these deaths over in Africa. And last year I actually visited Africa, and so many people are still living with HIV in Africa. And so we haven't even got over that yet, and we've got this new sort of thing that's come and sort of like has decided to challenge and test us even more. But the thing is, we have to shift in consciousness. We have to shift, and that is why yoga is becoming so big. It's becoming, worldwide, globally. Yoga is becoming the thing that's going to help people. And also the thing is, I want to try and, although the physical side is so important, I just want people to know that that is not only yoga. It's not just the physical exercise. Yoga is a big program, a whole lifestyle program. And that is what I'm going to try and teach people here on this channel, and try and raise the awareness and the understanding of how to live a more yogic life. I'm going to later on share some yogic rituals as well, and some recipes as time goes on. But while I'm off every day, I'm going to do videos, because I can see that this is going to be very parallel with what I went through in my life. And hopefully, if I can try and help and bring some kind of wisdom, some healing, to help others, then I'm willing to do that. Is there anybody here that actually has a question for me? You can put it on there, and if I can answer it to the best of my ability, I will try and do what I can for you. Yeah. But yeah, so going back to the destruction, while maybe you decide, right. Hi Jamie, hi Walal. We are coming up, actually tomorrow actually is the night before the new moon. Now on Monday we have a new moon in Aries, because I'm an astrologer as well as a hypnotherapist and as well as a yogi. All this has been because of my journey of the destruction I went through, the healing that I needed to do on myself, that led me to all these paths. Anyway, so we are also, because us human beings, we're very powerful, actually. There is a great power within the human mind. Yes, it can create destruction, it can, because we have been doing that to our earth, and the earth at the moment is crying. This is the real deep message, to be quite honest, that the earth is, crying. And so, it's kind of like saying, I need a break from you. I need a rest, And so the level of destruction that we've done to the earth, it has been immense. But I also feel that human beings are also coming up with new ideas, innovative ideas, and they will do. And with this, because we're in the spring equinox and this new energy, new moon, I really strongly feel that there are so many humans out there that are going to, come into that fighting warrior spirit to kind of like really turn this whole thing around, and so that we're going to start to see the renewal. It has to happen, and it will happen, and it's going to happen, with us, the human beings. You will find that so many people already, I bet you there are people in the labs trying to work out ways to try and combat this virus for a start. And I'm sure that people will find ways and means of doing something. And so, but individually, I feel that everywhere around the globe, there's going to be this immense warrior spirit that's going to come out within people. And actually, I'm going to do that as a separate video, because the warrior is part of yoga, and I'm going to do that as showing a yoga pose, the warrior pose in yoga. And so I'll most probably do that tomorrow. I'm going to make some space in my kitchen and have my mat out, and see if I can, if there's enough space, and then I'll do a separate video on the warrior pose. But yeah, you're going to be getting quite a few videos from me daily, and much of my journey I'm going to share as well, daily. So yeah, so this destruction that's going on at the moment, some of us are all too familiar with it. We really are. We have had it, tastes of it before. We've had experiences of it before, So just a very quick meditation. Earlier on, I did a meditation on coming into our presence. Okay, so the meditation earlier was having, your hands, one on the heart area, one on your solar plexus, and it was just holding that energy there and breathing. And I was talking through during that breath, of coming into the spirit, coming into the present. Okay, so now I would like, if you want to follow this meditation, is do that again. So put your hands, one on your heart and one on your solar plexus, because this is also a way of you feeling your own energy, being in touch with yourself and centering yourself and connecting to yourself. Okay, so just closing your eyes, just taking yourself into that quiet space. So if you followed my other meditation, you'll know that just by breathing and the silence and focusing on your body, you're just going to be able to just go into that state of stillness. And when you go into that state of stillness, I want you to imagine that around you is a circle. You can just imagine that circle around you in whichever way you want. And know that within this circle you're safe. Within this circle there is only light. And whatever is going on externally is outside of the circle, outside of that circle. So inside your circle is nothing but pure white light. And that pure white light in your circle is going to remain centered, is going to remain strong, and is going to remain full of love. And when you can be in this state, which is your real state, it doesn't matter what is going on outside of the circle. Let that be, that needs to happen in the way that it's happening. It's part of the cycles of life, and cycles of life will always happen, will always happen. But right now you can remain calm, you can remain in control, you can remain strong with who you are, and that is your spirit. Pure consciousness, pure awareness. And from this state of being, you can just observe whatever it is you need to observe on the outside. And remain detached. And that's the most important thing, that you remain detached from the outside world. Because you're already whole and complete as you are. You always were and you always will be. You are already whole and complete. Just remember that. So just feel that love within your heart, and that's what you're going to stay with, that love within your heart. Taking a nice long deep breath in, exhaling, and you can slowly start to just move your fingers as you breathe in and out. Start to wriggle your toes, move your hands away, tighten your fists, spreading your fingers out, feeling the sensations coming back in your hands, your arms. All your everyday sounds and noises returning back to normal. You can open your eyes, and returning back, Open your eyes, returning back. Okay, so you could do that meditation as many times as you feel you need to remain calm with what's going on. And it doesn't matter how many times you do it, whenever you feel that maybe things are getting a bit too much, you can do that meditation and go into your center, your stillness, that feeling of love within you. Yeah. Okay. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if there's any questions, please drop me a question. Feel free to share this video with anybody who you feel that might need it as well. Okay. Right, so take care, and I will be back with another video, another message maybe soon. Take care. Good night, everybody. Thank you.